Hey brawlers, I'm Mr. Hoodat, and in this video I'll be showing you how to win with Skip, the Time Skipper. Skip is a hero that is pretty difficult to play well, because he gets put under a lot of pressure from skipping his first turn, that any mistake made can be deadly. But when played well, I consider Skip to be a top 3 hero. I'll be showing you how to navigate through the different stages of the game, and how to utilize this hero to his fullest potential. I hope you enjoy. With Skip, the first turn freeze is a big contention between players and an often discussed part of the game. Brave Princess is a fringe case that a lot of players disagree on. Some believe it's good enough for a freeze, and others do not. Personally, I think it's a good freeze always, even if the board for the following turn is bad, like it is here. Brave Princess quest is very easy to finish on Skip, as it can be enabled by Good Witch, Stag, and buff spells. When Brave Princess is completed, the treasure alone is often able to completely stabilize you a few turns earlier than normal. And with Skip, reaching stabilization as soon as possible is the main goal. I find support for Brave Princess in Good Witch, and decide that it's better to spend my gold on that rather than 2 weak 2-drops. I cast Falling Stars to help deal with 1 health units from Fallen Angel, as they often take Black Cat and Minotaur. After rolling, the next board is amazing, and I lock it in for next turn. Peep and Donkey are both great with my Good Witch, and even though my next turn will show me 4 drops, these are much better to spend gold on. Fallen Angel is way too strong for me right now, and I miss a chance to slay with Brave Princess. I pick up the Good Witch and decide on taking the Baby Root instead of casting Luna's Grace. +3/+3 on Brave Princess could have given me a chance to double slay next turn, and is slightly better for the fight, but I think playing for future turns is much better in my opinion. I decide on positioning my units to give the most opportunity for Good Witch to support 2 Peep summons. Having my frontline positioned far left is important, because if my opponent attacks and kills Peep first, her summon will spawn to the left of Brave Princess and will attack before her. Far left positioning prevents this. Wonder Waddle is also too strong for me, but this time I did get my second slay. I'm given the option to eat a unit with the end to gain 1 XP, and although this seems like a bait, I decided that it's worth it. With Skip, full stabilization is the main goal, and sometimes you need to make yourself weaker in the short term to reach that goal sooner. This 1 XP gets me to level 5 1 turn quicker, which gives me access to tier 5 carry units earlier. Since my next turn is focused on tier 5 units, spending my gold to roll is useless. So I decide to grab and eat the tier 3 unit for 1 extra HP, since Baby Root is likely more valuable than a 1/3 or a 2/2 anyway. Next turn, I'll be looking for any strong tier 5 unit to help myself stabilize as soon as possible. These units include Siren, Cupid, Mummy, and Book, among others. Losing all these fights is expected. What's important is I got my Brave Princess quest completed, and I'm only losing by 1 or 2 units each fight. My treasure choices aren't too interesting, but Fancy Pants is nice, as I'm expected to take 1 great unit each turn. These units are likely to stick around for a while, so a +2/+2 buff is welcome. I'm given the option for 1 more XP, and although this seems like a bait, I decide it's just kidding. I need to get strong fast, as death is imminent. Any strong dwarf matchup will likely hit me for 15+, so I can't take XP here again. After one roll, I decide Vulture is the best unit to grab for this turn. With only one roll left for a tier 5 unit, it's unlikely I'm going to find something better. Vulture is an effective 14-14 with my current board, and although I will probably lose next fight, it will help us lose by less. I roll into 2 baby bears, and although these pair well with my Vulture, Masquerade Ball is the real high roll for this board. I'm already up 4 XP, 3 from skip and 1 from the end. After Masquerade Balling into 2 tier 6 units, I'm effectively up 6 XP. Since I'll be taking a tier 6 unit for my next 2 turns, it's as if I'm already turning level 6 next turn. Vulture pulls through, and I win my first fight of the game. After casting Masquerade Ball, I'm shown 2 very strong tier 6 units. Although Doom Breath is incredible and likely to kill 2 or 3 units, I decide 3 Big Pigs is a bit better, as it also synergizes with Vulture. I lock Doom Breath for next turn, and I'm feeling very likely to get first at this point. I'm way faster leveled than the rest of the lobby, and 21 is a healthy life total to stabilize at with skip. Even if I get a few unlucky fights or matchups that don't go my way, I can survive them. The worst thing with skip is to stabilize at less than 10 HP, and then run into the strongest player of the lobby and die early. 21 HP gives me a lot of leeway to get my endgame composition completed faster than everyone else. I take my Doom Breath for this turn, and make sure to grab it first for the +2/+2 buff from Fancy Pants. I sell my worst unit, and grab a second Vulture as a great filler unit for this fight. It's important to not hold on to strong mid-game units too long. Even though Vulture is amazing right now, trying to get it tripled is much worse than replacing it with other tier 6 units. Far too often, I see players keep their upgraded Vultures or Fairy Godmothers into the late game instead of looking for better replacements. I roll into a Drink Me potion, and although this spell is amazing in the late game to get you croc baits, dreams, and strong combat spells, it's just not worth the gold casting these at this point. I need to replace 5 of my units still, and also hunt for level 6 treasures. When you're ahead of the curve, it's important to put pressure on the lobby before they can catch up to you. I roll into Robin Wood, and although this doesn't synergize with anything I have, it's still a great unit and can fit into most compositions as a filler. I think about casting Kidnap, but decide Snow Angel is not likely to have anything good for me, so I sell my 2 weakest units for Medusa. In hindsight, I think Medusa backline and slot 5 is a much better positioning here, with Robin Wood slot 2. Snow Angel is likely to be a Fairy Godmother comp, and it's better to try to statue her backline buffed units. My next board gives me a nice big pig pair, and after rolling, I sell for Grumble. Grumble is a great support unit for summons in the front line as well as Doom Breath. I reposition Medusa to the back line and decide I'd rather keep Robin Wood in the back over Vulture. These last 2 fights really showcase how strong we are compared to the rest of the lobby due to being up 4 XP and with my Masquerade play. While others are just starting to gather their first tier 6 units and finding their endgame composition identity, we're already 6 out of 7 units of the way there. I roll into my 3 Big Pig triple and have a very interesting choice. Double Spells is great early to double buffs, double Evil Twin for triples, and double Dream for unique first hero effects like plus 10 HP from Grandmother, Knighthood from Gwen, and extra Dreams from Mask. Double Attack is amazing with summons, and effectively doubles Grumble's support ability as well. But I decide on Ivory Owl, because the game should last at least 5 turns longer, and the units I currently have will be my mainstays. I devour my Vulture for extra gold, and roll into a Grumble pair. The Vulture triple is not worth going for. There aren't really any powerful tier 4 treasures in the endgame. My positioning ensures Doom Breath attacks first. 20 attacks should be enough to get the job done, so I don't need to have it double buffed. While Robin Hood slot 2 looks a lot better, it's close because Medusa slot 7 will likely not get to attack, and if I move Grumble slot 7 with Medusa slot 6, the pig summons will likely be buffed less. Dealing 12 damage to Waddle as he's entering tier 6 with an upgraded Good Boy is much needed pressure. I roll with the intention of trying to triple Grumble, and replacing Vulture with more synergistic units. I find a Doom Breath pair, which is good with Ivory Owl, and is a nice way to counter Good Boy Royal comps by sniping their backline ranged units before they get buffed. My last roll gets me a Pumpkin pair, and a nice 4 Glory to cast for the turn. The only opponent I'm worried about is Wonder Waddle, who we just saw got an upgraded Good Boy off of his upgraded Polywoggle, so taking a second Doom Breath for him is a great pickup. The 2 pumpkins will also be useful to give me more units for him to have to get through after my frontline dies. Unfortunately for Trophy Hunter, we're too fast for him and kill him before he can reach his critical late game power. My 4 Glory luckily gets me a 3rd pumpkin, giving me another tier 6 treasure just in time for my lobby nemesis. The double attack treasure comes back to me, making me even more glad to have chosen Owl over it. To prepare for Waddle, I decide I'd rather have Doom Breath deal with his backline over trying to 1 out of 4 hit his Good Boy with Medusa. There's no way his Good Boy has enough HP to buff his backline high enough. The only issue is if he teched in Soul Talk. Even with his Good Boy attacking first, my Doom Breaths destroy his entire comp. I'm to assume now he'll have Soul Talk for me for the next time I face him in 2 turns. I decided Crocbait Pumpkin to protect it from spells or flying units. It also gives another tier 5 unit for it to summon, which is a nice bonus. My composition is pretty much completed, so spending the 6 gold for bait is definitely worth it now. I roll into a Doom Breath triple and lock for it. Although it turns my 2 giant Doom Breaths into only 1, the extra slot for Medusa will be nice. Also, the double spell treasure I can potentially get can be game winning with the double pig cast. This fight was very close, but my monster book carried with a clutch pig cast on his Echo Wood. I pick up my Doom triple, but don't find the double spell treasure. Plus 100 is just as good with TBP and Pumpkin potentially spawning units into that slot. I roll for combat spells to close out the game, but I don't find them. What I do find is a Grumble triple, and although I don't need treasures anymore, the extra space on board is more than welcome. The selling trick I do here may seem strange, but all it does is free up slots in the shop for new units to be filled in next turn. This game was a great showcase of how to manage your timing with skip. Although you're trying to get as strong as possible to diminish the damage you take, sometimes making yourself weaker is correct to get to that critical point of stabilization faster. After getting that 1 extra XP and masquerading into 2 tier 6 units, I not only completely stabilized, but I put immense pressure on the rest of the lobby by dealing 10 to 15 damage each turn. This pressure makes them have to take weaker unit upgrades just to survive, instead of rolling for the exact units that they want for the endgame. And as we watch this final fight, I want to thank you all for watching. Let me know what you liked or disliked about this video in the comments, and I hope to improve and bring more content like this in the future.
We'll cool these warm bodies, push that bed down.